This video is going to walk through the creation of a Nearpod lesson using an uploaded PowerPoint and a few of the most common tools. There's a lot more tools that can be utilized in Nearpod. I'm going to show you some of the easiest ones to use from the very start. Nearpod gives you the option to create a lesson in Google Slides and use a Chrome plugin, or you can come over to your Nearpod dashboard and work from here. I generally work from my Nearpod dashboard. So we're going to go ahead and click Lesson in Nearpod. Now I have the option to create slides in Nearpod, and when I do that, there are more tools that can be utilized on those slides than when I upload a PowerPoint. When I upload a PowerPoint, it's going to convert my PowerPoint to a flat image that cannot be edited. So you have some decisions to make from the very beginning. Will you create your slides here, or will you upload files? I do a mix of both generally. So that's what I'll do today. I'm going to go ahead and upload a file, and we'll create a quick lesson. Okay, I see a progress box down here in the lower right-hand corner telling me that my file is processing. So I'm going to give that a second to load up. And here are my slides. Notice that they're all outlined in orange. That means they're all currently selected. So if I click delete right now, it would delete everything that's selected, which is every slide I just uploaded. So if I'm like, oh heck, I uploaded the wrong deck, I can get it out of there really quickly. If I wanted to copy every slide for some reason, I could do that also. But I'm going to click away in the white space to deselect the slides. Okay. So I've got a short lesson here. I'll go ahead and give it a title, and this is going to be on feedback. I'm going to call this instructional feedback. And I'll click settings. I can do this now or at the end. It won't let me leave this lesson all the way until I set this up. So I'll go ahead and do it now. So I'm going to click higher ed and professional development and then submit. Okay. And those can always be changed at any time you like. Okay, this is our canvas for building our Nearpod lesson. We have a share button. We could share this out with folks. You can preview any slide to see how it will look, or the entire Nearpod itself, the entire lesson, and skip through it. And then save and exit is what you'll do at the very end. Okay, so how do we build in interactivity? That's the beautiful part of Nearpod. It takes a flat lecture and makes it more interesting by giving the learners questions and content to interact with throughout. And it gives instructors formative assessment data so that we know what our students are grasping and what we need to loop back around and reteach, or any misconceptions we need to clear up. So there's a couple of ways to add content. You can click Add Slide. When you do that, it will add it to the very end. You can click this button to add a slide. It will add it to the very end as well. Or you can click in between any slides, and you'll see a blinking vertical blue bar, and then the option to either add content or add an activity. Content, as you can see, are videos, audio, Desmos graphing calculator, 3D images that students can rotate or use with VR headsets. This is all content presentation and the slides that you can build inside Nearpod. Activity tools are things that students will engage with and you get data back for. So all different kinds of question types. There's a Nearpod training slide deck in here that goes through every single content and activity type and explains to you what it is and then gives you an example of each one. So go ahead and explore those in your own time. We're going to use a few different ones here today. So the first thing I like to do at the beginning of my presentations is to add an activity just to tap into prior knowledge, get students thinking about what we're doing today or the content that I'm going to present. So I'm going to go ahead and add one of my favorite tools called Collaborate. Collaborate is like a virtual corkboard where students can answer a prompt with an image or text or a combination of both. And they can see each other's responses and click a little heart even next to the responses and to say that they like it. So you can see like which responses resonate the most with the class also in that way. So I like to use the blue and white. I'm going to add a question. Now notice up here I've got a smaller character limit than down here. So I'll type part of the question here. Just clean this up a little bit. I could add an image if I like, or not, and then just click Save. Now that text I typed on the top line appears here. If I don't type any text at all in that top line, and I don't have to, there won't be any text here, but this gives me a cue about the question that I asked. The next thing I'd like to add is a poll. So I'd like to add that between 4 and 5, so I'm going to click in between. Add slide. It is an activity. This is a little tricky, so some people don't like to use that at all, and they just use the this tool or this tool to add your slide. So it's totally up to you the way you'd like to get it in there. Here we go. And I'm going to add a poll. Now, poll doesn't have a right or wrong answer. Students see responses in a pie chart, and then you can discuss them further. You can set a time limit on them, and you can add media to your poll, video or audio instructions to complement the poll question that you're asking. So my poll question is going to front load for the next question. And I'll put my responses down here. Notice you have a math type tool. The 6 dots that appear to the left of the letter for the answer choice allows me to move the question up or down. So you can do some reordering. I'm going to go ahead and put in some response options. And I'd like to have 4 options, so I added another. And I'm done with that, so I'll click Save in the lower right-hand corner. And I have a cue down here about what my poll question is. I don't see the whole thing, but that helps me remember what I asked. If I wanted to do another poll, I could copy this one by right-clicking on top of it or clicking the Control-C, and that would duplicate this poll. And I could drag this to a different location if I like. So you can, there's a lot of options and shortcuts you'll find as you build more and more Nearpods. Now I'd like to add a video for my students to watch. So I'll click Add Slide, Add Content, and click video. And notice that you can upload videos from several different locations. I'm going to add a YouTube video. You could type a search criteria in the box and skim through a list of videos that are presented, or you can copy the URL from the video directly from YouTube, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm pasting that URL into the search box. I'll click the magnifying glass. This is the video that I would like to use. So I'll need to click on that to say, yes, I want to use this video, and then click save. And there's my video. Now I'd like to add an open-ended question after this video. So I can click right after that last slide. I'll go ahead and use the add slide tool this time just to show you how that looks. So I want to add an open-ended question, and that's an activity. So I'll click add activity and skim through until I find, oops, I think I passed it, open-ended question. Again, I can add timer. I can let students record their voices. Instead of giving me a typed answer, they could record their answer. And I can also give them media inside the question prompt. I'm going to do a pretty plain prompt here. No media, no timer. And I'm going to ask, okay, there's my prompt. I'll click save. Now, since I used the add slide and didn't click in between an area to get the blinky blue sides, blinky vertical blue bar, my slides automatically dropped at the end with the question. So I'm just going to drag that to the position where I'd like it to appear. So I want it after the video. So slide 7 is the video now, and now slide 8 is my open-ended question. Here's 2 more slides that I want to present. And now I'd like to direct students to a website. I'm at the end of my presentation, so I can go ahead and just click add slide. And okay. Now I'm going to go out and grab the URL. I'll just copy that and paste it back here. I can test the link to make sure that I get the site that I would like my students to go to. Yes, that's the correct site. So we'll go ahead and save it. When I test the link, it opened in a new tab. It didn't close out my Nearpod presentation dashboard, which is nice. Okay, last activity I'm going to do is a quiz to consolidate students' learning. So I'll add slide again. This time I'm adding an activity, and I'll add a quiz. So I'll type my questions, type my answer options, select which answer is correct, and then if I want another question, I click add question at the end. So I'll go ahead and do the first one here. And this was one of my questions earlier. I want to see if my students remember. I'm going to add another answer. If I want to reorder my question, I just drag those choices, and then I need to give it an indication of which question is correct, so I mark my correct answer. And then I can move on to my next question. Okay, so I just typed in another question. That's enough for now, so I'll go ahead and click Save. And here is my finished Nearpod lesson. Again, if I want to reorder anything, I can just move things around by grabbing them. If I see something that I want to delete, I can click Delete. Sometimes I find a mistake on a slide, or I wish I would have added more information to that slide. Instead of uploading another slide or starting all over, I'll create a slide. So let's say I wanted to add a slide in between 5 and 6. I'm going to click in here, add content. First option is a slide. Now the templates aren't as pretty in Nearpod as they are in PowerPoint, but it'll work in a pinch. And I don't like to do a lot of redoing, so I just add slides instead of uploading a new one. That's totally up to you. And you can change your different backgrounds using this option. So I'm just going to say, I added a slide. Now, I have a lot of options here. You can upload a file. You can click this little plus sign to add text, a video, an image, or a GIF to this large area. You can have a new background for the whole slide, like a background image. You can change the layout. When you change the layout, you have the option to add different elements in all of those sections. So you could do multiple representations of the same concept, and that gets that universal design for learning by presenting content in multiple formats. You can preview it. One of the really cool things about it also is you can record audio over the top. You can upload an audio file, so say this is a presentation of a historical event and you have someone reading a speech or speaking about something. You could present their own voice here, or you can narrate your slides very easily right here in Nearpod. I'm just going to go back to the regular title in one element, and I'm going to add text, and that'll show you some of your text options. You can change the size. You can change the layout. You can use bullets, numbers. If you decide you want a different layout here or different elements, you just click the trash can and now it starts back all over again. So I'm just going to say I added text and save and exit. And there's my slide that I added. Now, at the beginning of the presentation, we talked about how PowerPoints that are uploaded are flat images. You can't do a lot with them. A nice thing you can do, though, is use the audio recorder. So you can narrate your uploaded slides, not only the slides that are created in Nearpod. Another cool thing you can do is you can change the layout, and you could make that slide be one of several elements that are presented on the page. The only thing you can't do is actually edit the slide that you uploaded. But you can work in some other stuff to make it interesting. I'm going to go ahead and just cancel out of here. I'm okay with my edits being lost. And I'm done with this presentation, so I'll save and exit. So really quickly, let's get this into Blackboard. I'm going to show you how to load this up as a live lesson and direct you to the Nearpod help deck that talks about uploading self-paced lessons. Okay, so for a live lesson, I've got options here. So if I'm in a classroom, I can click this button and launch my lesson myself, but I want to get it in Blackboard so that my students can get to this lesson easily. They can always use a code to join. After I click Live Lesson, a code is generated, and they can go to Nearpod's website and enter that code. But if I add it to, oops, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. Yes, I want to exit out the live lesson. If I add it to Blackboard using the tool on the Blackboard Build Content button, students' names will automatically be populated with their Blackboard login name, and that makes it a lot easier for me to track for grading purposes. So what I'm going to do is hop on out to my Blackboard page. I've got a folder inside my course modules to hold all of my Nearpods. This is a live lesson link. This is a live lesson link. This was added as a self-paced. I give them the code so that they can join that way, and then there's directions for them to join their self-paced. It might make more sense to pull that self-paced, directions, and Nearpod up together. That's going to be delivered self-paced. Okay, I want to add a live lesson though. So I'm going to click in over here to build content and come down to direct lesson link. This is going to take me back to my Nearpod dashboard to select which lesson I would like to make live. And I have two different accounts, and somehow I'm signed into both. So this process is the same, even though the dashboards look a little bit different than they did before. Okay, so I'm going to click Live Lesson. Now, this is a little bit funky. A separate tab opened up. It says, okay, success. The lesson was added. Close this window. So I'm going to close that tab. But my lesson's not here until I refresh the page. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And there's my live lesson. And that was a really long video, but it walks through some of the common tools, ways to build interactivity. It's a good idea to throw in interactivity every 3 or 4 slides, especially in self-paced lessons, so you don't lose your learner's attention. And you'll get really good data on what they've learned from your lesson. And you'll also be able to see what percentage of slides they worked through. So if they only went halfway through and then closed it out, you'll see that they completed 50% of the presentation as well. It'll give you information that you can act on in your next classes or in individual student meetings.